Welcome back. Today we're spotlighting a voice that's redefining sports media. Welcome, Vivian Chan, also known as VCHAN Visuals, a sports media creator based in the lower mainland of British Columbia. Through her work, she's carving out space for young women, bringing fresh energy, cultural insight, and a new lens to the world of sports storytelling. Welcome to this episode of the Rose Tinted Ceilings podcast, where we break glass ceilings to let girls shine. You're listening to episode 107 on the basketball baselines featuring VCHAN.
Yeah, thank you, Vivian, so much for joining us today. Can you give a brief introduction for our audience, just like who you are, what you do?
Okay, sounds good. Hi, I'm Vivian, also known as VCHAN. I do a bunch of sports content creation here in BC, so I highlight a lot of the BC school athletes, specifically in basketball. And I also just another platform for me to share my creativity and the love for the sport as well.
Yeah, I love that so much. And we're going to go a lot
Thank you.
into your work, your journey. But
Okay.
before all that, I just want to ask, I've seen you talk about getting recognized in public for your work. Can you talk a little bit
Uh,
about that? Like one of those stories?
it's mostly like when I'm roaming around the mall or just like in the neighborhood in like East Vancouver is where I think I mostly stick around. So it's really nice to see sometimes little kids wearing my shirts or even high school athletes wearing my shirts around the city. So it's really nice to get noticed by that as well.
Oh my
That's so
God.
Yeah,
cool. So, how did you get these shirts to them? Like, how many shirts have you made and put out in the world?
probably I'd say around 500 have been sold. So I'm really happy about it. And I just released compressions not too long ago. So that's another drop that I've been doing. With Rigor Basketball, which is a basketball brand based in China, but is also collab with Austin Reeves in the NBA. I was really grateful to have that collaboration.
Well,
Yeah.
now
And what do
I'll
you
be looking around. Where's Waldo? Trying to spot somewhere.
You'll probably see them a lot during the AU season. The
s-
kids will be wearing them under the jerseys.
When you see them with like your name on their shirt, are you going up to them to say hi, or do they spot you and come up to you?
I would most likely come up to them first to say hi because sometimes people don't really know what I look like. Because I think this was the first year I actually put my face like on my brand, if that makes sense. I was always anonymous. I was very shy, introverted, always behind the scenes. So I kind of took that step forward to just put myself out there. I feel like that was an amazing opportunity because now I get to connect with more people.
Absolutely. And now let's just go back to the beginning. We're talking about now you're selling 500 shirts, you're seeing kids with their merch on them. But how did this all start? Like walk us through the beginning.
The beginning of how I started, I guess, my platform in a sense, or just like
Yeah.
the journey of my
Like you
merch.
all the way back,
Like,
like starting photography,
okay, okay.
starting content.
Oh my goodness. Okay. It all started in ninth grade is when I first picked up my camera, but that was just only related to sports. Like the first time, yeah, related to sports would be grade nine. I joined the yearbook club and they needed photos for the basketball team. So I was like, okay, you know what? That's such a good idea to just go out to a bunch of um my grades basketball games because obviously I wasn't able to capture the girls because I was on the team. So the boys, um, followed them around. I also made an Instagram account for them as well, so just to give them more exposure. And then I realized I'm like, I'm doing all this work, but I'm not getting credited for what I'm doing. So I had to start a photography account. And that's where I started posting all my work. And then I got noticed by Vancouver Basketball, all these other big creators that were in my era, I'd say, would support me. And then it kind of grew from there. And then I started going out to other games, like other high school games, just to grow my platform too. So I was really grateful for that. It took a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and going out to free games, getting players the exposure that they need, and then that's how I'm here.
I mean, I'm so
Yeah.
curious. Like, I see the way Maggie does it too with sports media, and you guys are going out to games like every other night, and I'm sure it takes like a lot of energy. So I'm curious what keeps you going. Like, what is your biggest motivation for just keeping on with the sports media grind?
I think it's probably the youth because they're always the ones that are looking up to me and, asking for exposure. But not only that, just growing the game in Vancouver, like specifically, because I feel like British Columbia is really small and we have so much to prove throughout like all the other provinces, like Ontario. We have so much talent here. So I feel like it helps a lot with the recruitment. It also helps with my creative flows because I'm always thinking about ideas and just sharing with the community because I know they love the mixtapes like they're even seeing their kids being showcased on a big platform on Instagram is very rewarding. So that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I was just gonna say, like we see as high school students how much high school students love being featured and they love getting that content out there. So I just wanted to ask, like,
Yeah.
why like BC school sports? Like what draws you to that energy of like covering these high school athletes?
What draws me is that back then when I used to play basketball, I never got the footage, I never got photos, I never got videos. So now being able to do that for the kids, that's like a really nice memory to have just looking back and be like, wow, I did that, I accomplished this, I got that reward, and it's presented to all over BC. So yeah,
I also wanted to touch on when you mentioned you were just getting started, just starting getting noticed by these other big content creators at the time. I want to ask, did you ever feel like sports media was a super male dominated field back then?
100%, 100%. I'd say like the first time I went to provincials, it was probably like the baseline was empty during the finals. So there's only like a couple of like not old heads, like the big guys, like five couple of big guys, and then there'll be two girls. So there's one who's like the OG HK2K. She's now in Korea doing her thing, FIBA agent, and me. So it was really hard for us to kind of network when we're the only two girls. So obviously we stuck together most of the time. But there are some creators that I met throughout the years that were really nice and welcoming. So it was really easy for me to connect with them. But again, it's like you got to kind of work 10 times harder to be in the position that those big guys are in because we are female.
Yeah, absolutely. I really wanted to ask you about that because I feel like even in the
Hmm.
past 5 years, when you think of female content creators here, it was just you and HK, you know? But now I feel like when I go to these tournaments, I'm seeing so many young girls on the baselines with their cameras out. So can you talk a little bit about like the growth of content creation amongst younger girls and what do you think led to this and how do you feel about it in general?
I feel like it just gives the opportunities like there's more to just playing sports. Like you can be involved in like other ways. There's scorekeeping, there's refing, there's coaching, and then for my side, obviously the creative side, so content creating. And I just feel like we need more girls to know that there are more opportunities outside of just playing the sport because I used to be an athlete and I do love the sport, but how can I show it? So obviously I did the media side of things. Um, but I guess seeing more girls obviously makes me so happy, and I just want to continue to grow that community. So obviously, I'm close with um, Praise, PQ Flicks, and Erica Sungas Media. Those are the two girls that I mainly work with at my creative agency, and we're planning to grow that girl group a little bit more because we're the only creative agency sports media group in, I think, Canada. I feel like just to cover tournaments, make mixtapes, content create for basketball in general. So we want to continue growing that group and it'll be really fun. But I've seen a lot of new girls like on the baseline. Gotta reach out to them. Gotta grow that group.
Can you tell us a bit more about your creative agency and what was it like transitioning from being a high schooler doing photography versus like doing it full time?
Okay, now doing it full time, I'm so grateful that I get to do it full time, honestly. But this the grind and the hustle is real. Like I can't take over five projects as a one person job. I need to have a photographer, an editor, a videographer, just a group that understands the creative flows and the hustle and the organization that it takes to produce these really good projects. So that's the reason why I started it at first, but also just to, I want to start an internship for these girls that are interested in creating, a platform for sports media because I feel like I've been in the industry for long enough to share what I have. Well, trying to elevate each other up, you know.
Yes, I love that. And I feel like there's a big community amongst creatives, especially in British Columbia. I always see different creators like working together, collaborating on things. So I just want to ask you, how do you navigate that kind of working with other creatives? Because I know you want to have your own creative flow, your own ideas. So how do you balance that with, working in a group?
Like, wait, can you say that again?
Like, how do you balance wanting to be creative and having your own ideas and all these just like thoughts and also balance that with working with other creatives around you?
Yeah, I guess it's just trying to stay organized as possible. It's communication all around. Like, if you have an idea, make sure you write it in your journal, write it in your notes, type it in your notes, and then ask these collaborators for help. It's always helpful because everyone here is very supportive and are willing to put into the work to make that project come to life. So as long as you communicate with these people, it'll go through easily.
Can you walk us through your creative process? Because the moment you said writing an idea down in the journal, I'm like, okay, what's next? What's after the journal?
Okay, yeah, that is true. I guess like my creative process for these big projects and things is obviously now that I have a team, I would pitch my ideas to the girls first. If they agree with it, then we start going to a meeting, typing out all our notes, like what's possible, what's not possible, what are our goals for this project. And then after that, you just have to make like a pitch deck to pitch it to the clients or like person that hires us in the sports media industry. And then it just goes on from there. We just have, it's just a lot of planning and executing and communication. So yeah, but for my ideas personally, I like to write them down or type it down. I usually have like a checklist of what ideas I have in mind. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. I'll probably come back to it afterwards, but yeah.
Sick. And we're also really curious with all of these years of work that you've done. Do you have one shot, photo, video that has stuck with you, like your favorite one of all time?
Oh, that is hard because there's a lot.
Maybe just one with
I
like a
need to take a
really good
look. I need to
memory.
take a look, but probably my favorite memory was there's so many memories. I have there's just so many
Maybe
things.
one
Just like one of the
Yo,
of
I just got like a flashback, you know, you're like,
them.
um I would say being able to take photos at Ball and Stop, and they featured like a bunch of NBA players like Peyton Pritchard, Isaiah Thomas. So those were my two like favorite players because I do love the Celtics, and being able to capture them was probably the biggest opportunity ever. Even though if they don't see my work, I'm still happy that I got to take the photo, you know. But I can send it to you guys later. I was just like really
Absolutely.
appreciative being able to take a photo of an NBA player for the first time ever in my career, and I hope to do more in the future.
That sounds so sick. Is that your like, how some people have like a, oh my gosh, I've made it moment? Was that yours, or is there something else where you're like, where you first realized, oh my gosh, I'm doing this. This is a thing that I'm doing?
Probably the first time I had the I made it moment was when I got invited by King Handles and NBA 2K to go film the creator. Well, it wasn't really creator run, it was just like a invitation to go see the NBA Canada showcase in Vancouver, where they just allowed a bunch of influencers to come in onto the court and just create content. So that gave me like a huge opportunity to, you know, see what it looks like to be on an NBA court, especially in Canada, because we don't have a NBA team. So I was very grateful to experience that.
Yeah, that sounds so, so cool. And just reflecting on your journey, you've had so many of these big moments, some of these highlights. One thing that I saw, you won BC School Sports Media of the Year last year. How did that feel?
That was honestly like it made me really happy, and you know that I've gotten noticed by BC School Sports because obviously I put a lot of work into helping these kids get exposure and just like creative sharing my creativity to everyone, and I'm really happy that everybody in BC loves to see my work like that, and especially being recognized for it. I'm extremely grateful because again, I think that year and years before, I'd go out to like probably I'd say 50 plus games of high school sports, and that's just not even for clients, it's just for the love of the sport, just getting these players exposure, posting highlights after the games, because that's what people want to see. Because some people can't even go to these games. They want to see like what the top plays are, the top players, the awards. So yeah, I was really grateful to achieve that reward. It was shocking, honestly, but it was very I'm humbly grateful.
Yeah. And now just moving ahead, we were talking a bit earlier about the new generation of female creatives who are just starting, who are inspired by your work probably and trying to get themselves out there. I talked to one of the girls from our school. She's in grade 10. She kind of just started shooting in the past year. And I said, hey, I'm talking to VCHAN later. Do you have any questions you would want me to ask? She went, there's no, oh my god, no way, you're interviewing VCHAN. But
No way.
after she let her excitement out, her question was pretty much, how do you overcome the social anxiety as a younger person, as a younger girl in a male-dominated field? How can she and other creatives create the connections and the networking and getting herself out there that you need to do in this kind of field?
It's definitely just taking that first step of getting out of your comfort zone because again, I used to be very introverted. Like if there's men everywhere in the gym, obviously you feel intimidated, right? So you have to kind of take that step and own your space, and that's what I've learned to do over the past like 5 years of doing this. So yeah, just take that first step and just own your space, walk around like you own it, and just talk to people. You gotta try your hardest to network as much as possible because that's how I got all the connections was to take that first step of just talking to someone. Just be like, oh, hey, like you're this player. Can I make you a mixtape? Just very simple, short conversations that will get yourself on, you know, in the network circle. Yeah. But yeah, I think just owning your space is the most important thing. And just like learning how to be confidential, which is also something I've learned throughout the years. Because again, I didn't know. I was pretty gullible back then. Like, oh, I'll give you exposure for your work and all these things. So make sure you know your worth as well.
Wow. I love that so much, the walk in like you own it. I think we
Yeah,
talk about that a lot too, the challenge of knowing that we're allowed to take up space as young women. So I really love that. And I wonder if you have any other last pieces of advice that you'd like to give to the girls watching, anything that's helped you in your journey.
just continue to be consistent, especially if you want, to grow the space in sports media. Just continue to share what you love, continue to network with people. If people, trash talk about your work, literally ignore them because they don't know how much passion you have for these projects or for the community, and they will realize that afterwards. So your hard work will pay off. Just continue being consistent.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that so, so much. Thank you so much again for coming on and chatting with us and sharing your story, sharing your advice. It was such a lovely conversation.
Thank you. Wait, I also have one more thing. Be yourself. Be your freaking self. Don't fake it. Just be yourself.
So we're not a fake it till you make it. We're not on
No,
TV
actually,
till
like,
you...
be authentically yourself. Like, even if people don't like you, just continue being you because you're gonna find that circle that supports you. And that's what I've learned too. Now that I'm in my 20s, I'm literally but you know,
Oh, I love that. Thank you so much.
of course.